All right, this is Midrange Elitism by Anthony X Lost on YouTube. Go check him out. 10% dislike, so you know that Josh viewers have been here. Let's check it out.
Hey guys, Anthony here, and today I wanted to talk about an issue that I've been seeing pop up more and more. It's happened to me I've seen this happen at locals. I've seen this happen on Discord and group chats in all sorts of places where I feel like this issue needs to be brought up more and talked about in more detail. And that is why Yu-Gi-Oh has a mid-range elitism problem. So you may or may not know, I recently have been trying to...
Hopefully he defines mid-range for the start of this video, by the way, because like you'd be surprised at how many people just can't decide on what actually is a mid-range deck. But let's make sure that that's in here.
My 60-card roll-ad combo deck, and I've got a lot of people like playing it, and I've seen it talked about in other places, and I've seen like it being played in locals and the people's reactions against it. And here is what I wanted to say about like a lot of the stuff that I've seen going on. So let's get to the presentation. So what is a mid-range deck? So coming from other card games, a mid-range deck is a deck that usually aims to slam the most effective creatures on curve and curate their game plan based on their opponent's deck.
Finally,
versus
some
an
good
aggro
games.
deck, a mid-range deck tends to control the board. Versus a control deck, the mid-range deck can aim to play aggressive. The main thing about a mid-range deck is it focuses on the trading of resources and it focuses on card advantage. So here are some example mid-range decks in other card games. I played Shadowverse, I played a little bit of Magic, I played...
Is this Shaman? Muradin? High King? Fabled? What is Fabled? I don't know that keyword. Rush Battlecry, bring the High King's hammer to me. Death Rattle, add it to your hand. Oh, we got some, oh, Fabled. No, not that kind of Fabled.
Hearthstone, and in these games, usually the mid-range deck is the type of deck that it slams a 1-drop on 1, or it doesn't have a 1-drop. It slams the best 2-drop on 2, it slams the best 3-drop on 3.
I've heard Shadowverse is just Weeb Hearthstone, is that true?
During the game, but it's not necessarily skewed towards control or aggro. It's usually like the most balanced type of deck. And why do so many players like mid-range deck? Mid-range decks are often seen as fair card game decks. When a mid-range deck is strong, it usually means that there's a back and forth in the game. It means that both players are having a chance to do what their deck is intended to do, and there is a trading of resources going on. One side is slowly accumulating card advantage over the other, and people like gameplay where one side is slowly accumulating card advantage and slowly winning over that period of time. And I personally also enjoy playing mid-range decks in other card games. I think that I do agree in the fact that if a mid-range deck is the best deck in the game, it usually means that there's some form of gameplay going on. For example, if aggro is the best deck in the game, then you know there kind of is just.
We need to give some Yu-Gi-Oh examples because I feel like it's very wide.
Control deck is the best deck in the game.
Definition.
Well, games last forever, and like there's like not a lot of things going on, right? You play a monster, I remove it. You play a card, I remove it. So yeah, there's a reason why mid-range has always been so popular. But there's an issue with mid-range in Yu-Gi-Oh. So what is mid-range in current Yu-Gi-Oh? There are some of the examples of the best mid-range decks in Yu-Gi-Oh right now are Roll-Ad mid-range piles, Branded, and Sky Striker. The issue is Roll-Ad mid-range aims to resolve Celtic Mystic on both players' turns. They do it on, if they go first, they do it on your turn. On their turn, they draw 3, discard 2. They discard cards with graveyard effects. Oh shoot, they just went up 5 cards on you. And then on your turn, they either add that Celtic Mystic back with the ritual spell, or they have a second one, and then they just go Mind Shuffle, bounce back their ritual, summon Celtic Mystic, draw 3 more cards. They have 15 hand traps in their deck. They have Harmonia. They summon the Harmonia on you. They bounce the Harmonia, and suddenly, like, they're up 20. They're up 10 cards on you. They resolve Skull Archfiend on your turn and my turn. They
That's the Yu-Gi-Oh's definition of mid-range is very funny, isn't it? I think it's really interesting that Sky Striker is in here, because I feel like you would probably control Sky Striker a control deck, but I mean even then it's like, again, the definitions are so unique specifically to Yu-Gi-Oh. These definitions are all so simple and easy in other card games with limited resources, but in Yu-Gi-Oh these definitions conventionally just all fall apart because, you know, even like Cool Tune, you look at something like Cool Tune, it's like, what is Cool Tune? You would think maybe that's a mid-range deck, but it's like it doesn't feel like it, you know. So yeah,
add 2 cards to the grave, 2 cards to their hand.
Everything in Yu-Gi-Oh is combo or stun. Yeah, exactly. Like
Celtic Mystic draws them to 3 new cards. They ditch the 2 least popular cards in their hand, and then Branded typically adds the top 3 cards you see on the screen back to the hand every single turnaround. They aim to sit on this 3500 tower card that is marginally hard to out, and then they aim to, during both players' end phases, generate an entirely new hand out of thin air. And if you play against those decks, it's either you do the same thing or you try to beat them, but if you let them get to turn 3, They just refresh their hand every turn, and you're a deck that can't refresh your hand every turn, and then you just lose. Also, I do agree that Fallen Virtuous is a good card. I don't think Fallen Virtuous, there's any problems inherently with design. It's just the issue that it exacerbates the issue that every deck goes +5 during the end phase. It's like, now...
Okay, not every deck, but like, yeah, Fallen the Virtuous is like ridiculous because you send a card to your graveyard to pop a card, and then that card gives you something in the end phase, but it fulfills the activation requirements of everything in your graveyard, just adding back to hand, add back to hand, add back to hand. So, I don't know, it's weird because it only feels broken in that deck specifically.
Your Fallen Virtuous traded with one of my best starters, and then now you're also getting it back. which is kind of crazy, right? And if you're a type of player that doesn't want to play like these mid-range deck mirror matches, how do you exploit mid-range decks? So, one of the biggest issues with mid-range decks is that they don't actually put up that many interruptions. If you think about Sky Striker, if you think about Rolad mid-range, like Branded Rolad, if you think about Pure Branded, they actually don't have that many interruptions. Like, compared to, like, Cool Tune. Cool Tune can, like, interrupt you, like, Vanquish Soul and Cool Tune, those decks can interrupt you, like, 7 or 8 times during your turn. They might be small interruptions, but they like, pop a card here, pop a card there, banish a card here, right, negate this one. But most mid-range decks only have 3 to 4 interruptions. Like, for example, you take the mid-range Rolad deck. They have the Fallen Virtuous, they usually have the Banish off BLS, they usually have, like, 1 Harmonia in the hand, or an Ash Blossom they drew into, and then they usually have their old Elbaz. That's it, right? And if you play against Sky Striker, if they full combo you, they usually have their set 5, and then a 0. And then if you play against Branded, it's more of the same thing. They have their old Elbaz fuse, they have their Fallen Virtuous, they may have a Jade Banish, they may have some loops with Quem, but
this is all very interesting because it feels like this sounds all amazing, right? All of this sounds good, no? And healthy and fun, right? Like, oh, you're only really gonna interrupt me like 3 or 4 times. The idea is you out advantage or out resource me. Conceptually, this seems like a good idea, no? So I'm curious why he hates it.
It's nowhere near the amount of interruptions that an actual like combo deck would have. And if you put more engines and more gas into your deck, you have the ability to like pierce through the low amount of interruptions that the mid-range deck has, and you can counter their game plan by not letting them see the turn 3 that they get an entirely new hand on. Most mid-range decks also instinctively try to play for follow-up. Most of their cards and interruptions usually also generate follow-up. So one of the best ways to beat them is either you go first and you set up an unbeatable board of 7 negates, and, well, I'm not saying literally 7 negates, but like you set up like double-digit interruptions so that the mid-range deck, usually most of their cards aim to interrupt you somehow, not that much, and then they aim to get a bunch of follow-up back, right? But if you just don't let that happen, you have more interruptions than they have cards in their hand. Usually, they don't win. And then if you go second against them, if you have enough gas where you just gas through the 4 interruptions and then you kill them, they'll never live to see the follow-up, right? So that's like a really good method of counterplay. I would say that if you're not a mid-range player yourself and you want to beat mid-range, this is a very, very good way to beat mid-range. But the issue with that is most of the Yu-Gi-Oh community really hates it when their wholesome mid-range slop deck... You can see I'm biased, by the way.
We can't just use the word slop for everything. Wholesome mid-range slop? Would you... Come on, what do you... That's like... Mid-range is the opposite antithesis of slop, right? Like, that's not what that word means in that context. Slop is anything I don't like. Dude, this video is just word slop, huh? Yeah, this is just YouTube slop. Rant slop. What do you mean? Most of the Yu-Gi-Oh community hates it when they're wholesome mid-range slop. Okay, let him cook.
Most of the Yu-Gi-Oh community really hates it when their wholesome mid-range slop deck. You can see I'm biased, by the way, because
I'm glad he understands that.
I play both sides of the clock. Right? I also play mid-range decks. I love playing Draco Tail. I love playing these like branded mid-range decks. But also, you have to realize that not everybody wants to keep playing this.
This is like such a Yu-Gi-Oh. Like again, like I consider myself vaguely able to like wrap my mind around like these concepts and stuff, and I'm somewhat intelligent in this regard. And I cannot for the life of me play something like Draco Tail. Like, you're telling me Draco Tail is a mid-range deck? I don't see that. It's like 5 mana, 3 trap cards, maybe a Fallen the Virtuous, an Albaz into a Fuse off a body, into a Mirror Jade, like, with maybe another hand trap. That's like 8 layered interruptions, and it's like, that's mid-range? Like, it's just incomparable to other card games, you know?
together like forever, right? There is time limits in the match. If
Fusion
you guys both know
slop.
if a random player like puts a mirror match against each other, that stuff goes to time basically every single game. I don't want to be playing this type of game like every single time. And if I want to counter you with my combo deck, and I win against you, the mid-range player gets super salty because in their eyes, their mid-range deck is super skillful. They have to like.
The mid-range player gets super salty. It's funny because it's true. You can just imagine Josh getting mad at like a dormouse.
Grind for multiple turns. They have to play everything correctly. They don't have that many interruptions, so they have to quote-unquote tactically, skillfully use their interruptions to make sure they survive the turn in order to get their follow-up. And when they don't see their follow-up, they get super salty. They're saying that your Yu-Gi-Oh is wrong. They're saying that you're playing bad Yu-Gi-Oh. They're saying that you're like playing some sloppily stops of her. Yeah, exactly. And this is not just me. I literally witnessed this. A bunch of my friends at locals copied my deck, and when I see it played against other people, like their opponents, one opponent last week literally said nobody likes you in front of his face. Like after he lost, he was playing RB. He went first. He set up like Regulus, Trap, Field.
RB, unironically, is just machine slop. That's the irony in this. RB is not like a mid-range deck if you want to play it optimally. Like
Spell, and then like 2 RB monsters. And then my friend had like 5 engine cards in hand, and then he just like played through all of that, and then he killed him with like with his hand, and then he just kept saying during the combo, like every single time my friend went bridge into a new engine, they're like, dude, who likes slop? Nobody likes slop. Why are you playing slop? Nobody likes this. And he just keeps saying that, and somehow
is it that deck literally just goes into like a Therian Regulus and like some machine like train cards, doesn't it? Like that isn't that actually what RB does? Like that's how you play that?
The Yu-Gi-Oh community has conditioned people to think that this is okay. Like shitting on other people's decks is okay. And that's not okay. Your deck does what your deck wants to do. My deck does what my deck wants to do. We're both playing decks that are legal for the format. What makes you think that your deck is better than my deck? Right? I'm
sorry. I'm super curious what like an RB deck looks like these days. Is it article? Wait, decks, tournament decks, B, top 64, top 8, 113 players. 1 month ago. This is about the most recent RB top we have from the Vancouver WCQ here. All right, what do we have here? We got some Crystron cards. We got Droll. I don't think that's searchable. There's a Camellia here, which I believe does something to bridge into something silly, right? I guess we're just dumping the drone to retrieve with Kagari and then go into like something here. This doesn't look actually too egregious. I don't know what this card is. Rustin Mammoth. That's a Ruxin 34. That's a what's it called card? World Premiere. 2 machines. What does the deck end on?
Hello, my name.
Has he got a deck profile? He does. Show us a combo. Side deck. Lava Golem. Bro, that's just board break slough. Alright, well, who knows what an actual end board of this looks like, but anyway.
You can think that there's something like unbalanced about the deck, but you can't just like verbally abuse combo players for winning with their combo decks. Like, fundamentally, what's wrong with pile decks? Pile decks have a ton of innovation in them. Pile deck players spend so much time trying to work on their combos to make sure that this bridges into that bridges into this. Like, it's one of the most, like, one of the reasons why I got into Yu-Gi-Oh in the first place. I really hate that now, like I'm not saying everybody has an issue with, but I'm saying that there are, like, a bunch of players, like, that actively post videos about how, like, oh, this type of gameplay is unhealthy, and then casual players take it the
This is just Josh subtweeting, right? Right? I'm pretty sure he's just subtweeting Josh.
wrong way, and they're like, and they start shitting on the people's feelings in their face, and it really just isn't what I'm trying to get with Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I'm trying to play Yu-Gi-Oh to relax, right? I'm not trying to like after 5 days of work go to a locals and get shit on for playing a deck that like I spent time on, you know? I feel like in general that the community has to improve. We have to stop
Wrong game
like,
to relax to.
Parroting the fact that like if anybody doesn't play like this mid-range slop back and forth that they're playing unskilled Yu-Gi-Oh. I feel like that just is not something that's healthy for the game. This is something that I've always like wanted to let loose about.
You know, it's one of those card upside down, bad and unhealthy, cards correct way up, card game fun, etc. Right? Like one of the most enjoyable fun parts of Yu-Gi-Oh for me personally is being able to go like activate a line, go through a line, get stopped, bridge into another line, get stopped, bridge into like another line. Like, you know what I mean? Like being able to extend and push through with like different engines and multiple, like I think that is the most fun shit ever. I really enjoy that. But when my opponent does it and they just do like a full ass other combo with another archetype, like I get it, you know, it is really like infuriating how you can drop 2 hand traps on like, you know, the Draco Tail portion of your opponent's deck. Like you can like Ash Rahu, you can maybe like, you know, Valor and Arthalion, and then they just go slap down a Wildbaz. Like that does obviously feel terrible, right? But it is a huge part of why the game is like so fun to play. But I don't know, it's just like a Yu-Gi-Oh issue where going first is so much better than going second, gameplay wise and balance wise, you know.
Oh, and let me know if you agree with that, you know. Anyways, yeah, this is like a video I wanted to make out of the blue, but yeah, I've been
personally upset by this. Any deck that beats mine is unfair. Any deck that loses mine is fair. Send this to John. Yeah, that's what it is. Agrees that playing a combo deck is fun. He's a certified Malice hater and still enjoyed playing it for locals. He just says he played that the gameplay combo decks promote is often not interactive and dice roll dependent, which he simply doesn't enjoy. Never hates on combo players and doesn't verbally assault people. I think he would go along with the core message of the video, which basically don't be a dick. Loving the presentation style format. The main issue with combo piles to me is that they exploit the wholesome mid-range decks when going second, but rather that they're near impossible to stop and break when going first. Let's not forget the piles also have the same trait of refilling their entire hand turn 3 as well, so they're basically just multiple mid-range engines in one. The main point about deck elitism remains true. The fact you've been verbally harassed to play the deck is ridiculous, but I feel like this is less of a Yu-Gi-Oh community problem as a whole, but rather a locals cultural problem, especially if it's a competitive scene. Anything that anyone says on the internet can easily just be, you know, taken as, what's the word I'm looking for? Like popular content creators will have like a very decisive take about a certain thing, and their weirdo fans will run with it and treat it as biblical and use it to like put down anyone else who disagrees with them while not even really fully understanding the concept themselves, you know? And that's just the nature of any competitive game, you know? It doesn't really matter if it's Yu-Gi-Oh, if it's other card games, if it's freaking League of Legends. One popular content creator says something, you know, crazy, like, unreasonable about like a champion or a certain ability, and like everyone hops on it, you know? It is what it is. So I don't think that's anything to get too upset about. If it's literally like someone who's distressful at locals, then, you know, they'd probably report them or something, I guess, is like the only other thing to do in that regard. But yeah, are you one of those content creators? I don't really, like, my content doesn't really have like takes. I don't really give takes for the most part. I usually, in video form, I like to break down and talk about multiple different angles on the same subject, rather than like, this is correct or this is wrong, or this is my opinion on this and this is not my opinion on this, etc., right? So that's usually like my style these days. So I don't think anyone can really do that with my opinions, because I don't have a particularly strong opinion about any particular subject in Yu-Gi-Oh. I just like exploring them from multiple different angles. Your fans killed Asian Ice. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.